Hi everyone, welcome to UTV Guna and our AAA show with Amma, Abik and myself. Hi guys, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. I hope everyone's keeping well. And yeah, disappointing results recently, disappointing performances, but we keep going, see what happens.
Yeah, Abik, how are you?
Yeah, all good, all good. Great to be back on the show. Exciting, wonderful results. Let's hope we keep it going.
Yeah, let's start with you boys. You continue to keep winning. You're really in great form, firing on all fronts. And two more wins for you since we last spoke on our last show. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so obviously we played Everton on Sunday in the Merseyside derby. Before that game, I didn't want Everton to go down because I just I'd missed the Merseyside derby, but they obviously bought a game plan. Frank bought a game plan to stop Liverpool from winning. They needed to get a result, and I completely appreciate and understand that. But it was laughable. I mean, Pickford going to the deck every time he caught the ball in from the first minute was quite funny. Richarlison going down at every opportunity to waste time as well. There's a lot of antics and play acting purely to frustrate Liverpool, and it worked for 45 minutes because it was 0-0 at half time. But it was good that Liverpool kind of went in at half time and Klopp had a word and said, "Look, don't play their game, don't fall for their tricks. Just play your game, and the chances will come, and you'll put them away." And that's what happened. We regained composure. Once again, Klopp has influenced another match by his substitutions. That game was still 0-0, but he brings on Luis Diaz and Lord Divock Origi. Then they changed the game. I mean, Origi in particular plays a big part in the first goal where Salah plays it into, and that's what we needed. We needed someone, not a target man, but someone like a focal point up front that someone like Salah or Mane can feed into, and that's exactly what Salah does. He feeds it into Divock. Divock lays it off, and beautiful cross, which is meant for Jota, but it just goes over Jota's head. But thankfully, we've got an overload at the back post in Robertson, who comes in and heads it. They always say, if the ball's coming from whatever direction, head it the opposite way. So, you've got more of a chance of getting the back of the net. I actually think Pickford was at fault, to be honest. If you look at it again, Pickford dives, his momentum, the way his body is shaped, it goes to their post. But if he actually just stays where he is, the ball, he probably saves it because the ball doesn't, it's not like a header that's, clipped the far post and gone in or anywhere near the corner. It's actually bounced in the middle and then gone in. So you could say that maybe Pickford was slightly at fault for that. But look, I'm not going to complain. It was a relief, a massive relief to go 1-0 up. And I think after that, we knew that we would have the game. Alisson was rarely troubled. The only time I remotely felt a bit thank God, a heart and mouth moment was when Damari Gray cracks that shot, which just goes right in the post. He's got a really good shot on him, and for me, I thought that was in as soon as they left his foot, but thankfully it went wide. And then Divock Origi again, he just loves playing. I think he's like a bull that sees red when he sees blue of Everton, because his scoring record against Everton has been phenomenal over the years. You're talking about a guy who's he's only played 110 minutes or 120 minutes all season of Premier League football. He's not started a game. They've all been coming off the bench, and he's not even been involved in the last couple of matchday squads or last few matchday squads. He's already agreed terms with AC Milan, so we know he's leaving in the summer because his contract's up. He will be missed. He's a bit of a cult hero for the goals he's scored. He's always scored vital goals as well when he scores. It's not the fourth goal in the 4-1 win. It's always Champions League final goal or scoring 2 against Barcelona or a memorable Merseyside derby goal. Yeah, he scores massive goals, massive moments. And he's done it again. So yeah, thankful for Divock for his contribution, and we win the game 2-0. Best one of the best moments of the game is in the injury time where Richarlison has a shot, Alisson standard routine save, catches it, and then he goes to the floor. And the whole of Anfield, that probably gets the biggest cheer of the afternoon. It's like it felt, if you weren't watching the game and you're just listening, you would have thought Liverpool scored a third goal. That's how big the cheer was. It was just a really funny and ironic moment. So yeah, we got the win. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, like I said, Everton, I understand why they played those tactics, but it obviously didn't reap the rewards that they were looking for in the end. So like Alan, their midfielder, played 73 minutes and he had 2 touches and they were both from the kickoff. So two passes. Sorry, yeah, he made 2 passes and they were both from the kickoff. So that shows how much involved he was and what Everton's midfield was like. But there were a couple of moments where maybe we got the luck of the green. So there's the Anthony Gordon challenge, which on another day, I know Lampard had his comments saying the post-match, and it's one of those where it could be given, but it may not be given. I think a lot of people are not looking at the fact that, and if you look at the replays closely, Anthony Gordon's foot is on Matip's foot, so he doesn't intentionally stamp on Matip's foot, but his foot is on Matip's foot, so that plays a part. And secondly, the whole thing about you never get a penalty at Anfield and it's the new Old Trafford and all this rubbish. Just to dispel that fact, in the last 10 Merseyside derbies, Everton have had more penalties awarded at Anfield than Liverpool. Everton have had 3 penalties awarded and Liverpool have had 1. So that kind of dispels that fact that you'd never get a penalty at Anfield, especially in the Merseyside derby. We actually lost 2-0 at Anfield last year because the second goal was correctly or incorrectly given as a penalty, which Calvert-Lewin put away. So there was that. There was a huge brawl just on the stroke of half time where to be honest, I do think that Mane should have got sent off. He stupidly raises his hand at Holgate. It wasn't malicious, but the moment you raise your hand, you're giving the referee a decision to make, I think, and I'm surprised VAR didn't pick it up. So maybe he should have been sent off, but thankfully for us, he wasn't. Yeah, they were the only real flashpoints. I didn't like, more than Pickford's time wasting, catching a ball and just wasting a few seconds here and there by going to the floor. Richarlison really frustrated me and annoyed me because he literally just went to ground every time, and he was holding his head when the ball hadn't hit his head or he hadn't had a head injury. So he was literally faking a head injury. That was the moment where Decore takes out Fabinho out of frustration, and there's that huge brawl. I understand the time delay and the slowing down the game and stopping Liverpool playing. I get that, but for me, if you're faking injury, it's a method of cheating. That's the way I see it. And you could say Everton, they went over the line. I thought they went a bit over the line, and you could say they cheated almost. Not to get a goal or anything, but faking injury for me is cheating, is a form of cheating. So I wasn't really happy with that. And like I said, after the game had finished, I was relieved we won. But I want Everton. I don't mind if Everton go down now. And it was just great seeing the Liverpool fans sing going down, and chanting Rafa Benitez's name as well, which must have hurt the Everton fans as well, because let's be honest, it's more because of Agent Rafa that Everton are where they are. So yeah, I was happy with that. I was happy with the result. Like I've said each week, we have to win every game to stay in the race and hope that City slip up eventually. And then midweek, obviously Villarreal. Villarreal tried to play the same tactics, it seemed, as Everton, but they just weren't good at it. They didn't time waste, but I don't know, they were strange. They're a strange team, Villarreal. They came to Liverpool, but it seemed like Unai Emery probably said to them, we'll take a 1-0 or 2-0 defeat, just don't get battered, don't lose 5-0, and make sure the tie is still alive in the return leg. So maybe they got what they wanted, Villarreal, because they, 2-0, it's not over, definitely not over. They all sense that, if they can get a goal at their place, if they score first and they get an early goal, maybe in the first 10 minutes, and it changes the whole complexion of the tie. So, yeah, it's certainly not over, but it was very, very easy going for Liverpool. Complete opposite to like the Man City, the other semi-final, where it was, like high, like frills and scoring and like end to end. Liverpool played it like a training game at times. They really did. They didn't have to use up too much energy. So I wouldn't expect Liverpool players to be tired going into the weekend's fixture, because they just weren't tested. Like Alisson may as well have had a sun lounger out, or you could have had a stranger in goal. Literally, you could have picked a fan to be in goal, because he was not needed. He barely, I think he made one save in the second half, and that was like a simple catch. It wasn't like where he was truly tested. He just wasn't needed at all. And that's because Villarreal, we played really well in the sense of our pressing game. We suffocated Villarreal really well. But Villarreal didn't help themselves as well. They just did not have, even like you'd think if you're under that much pressure, from Liverpool, maybe you can counter attack. They didn't even try to counter attack. That's what I found a bit strange. They just did not. They didn't waste time. They didn't play like anti-football or anything. But they also didn't do anything else. They just did nothing, which I found really peculiar, their tactics. But like I said, maybe they wanted to just leave Anfield with a 1 or 2-0 defeat, which they got. But it's a strange way to approach any game, but let alone a Champions League semi-final, such a big game. So, yeah, I was reasonably happy. I would have been more satisfied with a third goal, but it wasn't to be. But yeah, 2-0 is fine. I would expect Liverpool to progress at this moment. It won't be easy, but I would still expect them to progress to the final. I think Villarreal will probably have more of a go in the return leg, which means they may score. But I also think Liverpool will probably score out there, and if they do, then that kind of kills a tie. So yeah, I'm fairly confident we'll get the job done in Spain next week. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, no complaints this week. 2 wins again, 2-0. We keep going.
Yeah, for sure. I think huge favourites to get to the final now. The whole thing with away goal no longer existing, that meant, as you're saying, Villarreal, they didn't really show much ambition to try and score, and they were just trying to keep it as close as they could going into the second leg. So they wanted to ask you, what do you think about that rule being removed?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, because what it means is that the home team can play normally, and even if Liverpool had conceded, it's not like it means they've got to go out and like, it doesn't change the complexion of the tie so much. So I think it promotes like more free flowing football, or it should in theory. The only downside is,
but what I mean, yeah, but that's what I mean. So if Villarreal had that away goal, maybe they would have gone for it a bit more.
Maybe, but at the same time, I generally think that they just couldn't cope with Liverpool's press. Liverpool's press, I don't know if you saw it, if you watched the game, but Liverpool's press was incredible. They couldn't get out of their half. Like literally, Liverpool were just even near. I think most of the football was definitely played in their half, but a lot of it would have been played around their box as well. They could. So I think Villarreal are probably one of those teams that like to play out the back. They didn't even attempt to play out the back, because they knew if they tried, Salah or Diaz or Mane would have made a tackle and they'd be in on goal kind of thing. So they were really, really like scared to play out the back, and they just couldn't they couldn't get out of their half. So I think that also played a part in why they were so like trying to be compact. But yeah, I mean, I personally, I'm for it. The whole scrapping the away goal. I think it's been good, like generally throughout this tournament. The only time where it's maybe not so good is like for example, Real Madrid in the other tie, they worked really hard to get back into that game. But 4-3 is the same as 1-0. Basically, there's no difference, because it's not as if Real Madrid got 3 away goals where that counts or something. So that's why I like it. It means that the second leg is not completely dead, if you know what I mean. Because if there is away goals, the second leg it's almost as if getting an away goal and then bringing them back to your place, you can then get like a 1-0 win, and then you go through on away goals if you've lost the first leg 2-1 away from home. Do you see what I mean? Whereas so now Real Madrid, or Man City in this case, even though they've conceded 3 goals, it's not that bad for them. And they know that, they just got to outscore Real Madrid in the second leg and they'll be through. So they don't have to worry about scoring an extra goal because Real Madrid got 3 away goals. So I think it's a good thing.
Okay, Ahmed, what do you think?
Yeah. I actually like the away goal rule, because I think it brings the element of like kind of anyone can win, and it helps the smaller teams a lot. So you can. It's not always the best team going through. Now, probably in the essence of football, you want the best team in the tie to go through. But then I like the element where a team can dominate, but then a team out of nowhere scores an away goal and they're going through somehow. Or that away goal means that they've if you're away from home. The other team is dominating. They score 1 goal, and you get a nick a goal right at the end. You're effectively winning the tie on the away goal rule. As where now it just favors the big teams, so you're not going to have as many shocks as you used to do. I don't think anymore, because before all the shocks came from the away goal rule, from teams tactically trying to sort out how they're going to play at home and away. But then one thing I do agree with Avik is that good thing about not having the away goal rule, I think, is that the home teams now actually play football and they want to win the game, and they think, you know what, like Avik said, even if you can see the 1 goal, you can score 2 or 3 and it's okay. But with the away goal rule, you dominate the game, you're 2-0 up, and then the other team scores, the away team scores 1 goal, and then you're basically the ties, nearly at a draw, 2-1, but then they have the away goal, so they win 1-0 in their home game. And they go through. But I like it personally. I think it's good because it's more inclusive for all teams. It's not just the elite teams that play certain type of football or certain players can win. So I think it's a bad thing they got rid of it. I like the surprise element. I like the and that's what football's about, getting lucky. You might get dominated over 2 legs, but maybe you score a few lucky goals, or you get a few, or you play well and get a few counter attacks and you score and you win that way. So me personally, I wish we kept the away goal rule in, but I understand why they got rid of it, because they said there's no real need of having it in, in football in 2022. So I understand why they got rid of it, but for me personally, I would have kept it in, and I think it should have been kept in for the foreseeable future, because I like that element that it has, and it's good, because it brings more of a challenge for teams. It's more interesting, it's not just straight on aggregate, whoever's got more goals. It can, it makes it more interesting for me. So I prefer it, but I understand sort of why it's not there anymore, or why they got rid of it.
Okay, for me, I think it does add a different element, and something different to the game. For example, we've seen teams being 3-0 down before, and then they get that late away goal, and it's 3-1, and they're back in it. They just need to win in their ground 2-0. So it does bring a different element. But personally, I've seen us suffer some heartbreak from that away goal rule. We went out to Bayern Munich on away goals. They beat us 3-1 here, and they went to their ground. We're beating them 2-0, but went out on away goals. So we've had some heartache. So I can see both sides of the argument, but yeah, that, I'm just saying, brings a different element. So it's something that I wouldn't say.
And it's better for the smaller teams as well. That's what I was going to say to you. I mean, remember that the teams that have less quality of players, they can actually get through and maybe even win it sometimes by the away goal rule.
Yeah, if you're 3-0 down, you normally say game over, but then you nick a goal and you'd say 3-1 still a good advantage to the home team. But then when you think of the away goal, if you take it back to your stadium, just win 2-0, you're through, you know. So yeah, you know, it does bring a different element, but that's the route we've come from, and that's the new rule. Hopefully, we'll be seeing next season in the Champions League. So yeah, so looking at the Liverpool situation, you guys are still looking really good in the Premier League race. 1 point behind, so 5 games to go. How confident are you that win the league still?
My opinion hasn't changed since last week, and it won't change until we see Man City draw a game. Not even lose, just draw a game, drop points. Purely because it's out of our hands. Part of me still thinks Man City are going to go on and win every league game. Because and then obviously if that happens and we win every league game, they win it by a point. But yeah, I don't know. The only thing that I mean, we'll come on to it, but this weekend they've got Leeds away. So I saw, looking at their running, there were 3 games where I thought they could drop points in, and those were, so tomorrow they've got Leeds away. That's one of them, and the other one was the other 2 were West Ham away and Wolves away. They're the 3 chances that I see where City could drop points. If they win those 3, they'll win the others, and then that's it. It's done. The West Ham one, I was glad. Sorry to upset West Ham fans, but I was glad that they lost 2-1 yesterday. Because I need them to go out of the Europa League. Because if they go through to the final Europa League, they're just going to rest players for the remaining league games because they're not going to get 4th. And it doesn't really matter if they get 5th or 6th, because then if you get to the final Europa League and win it, you get Champions League football anyway. So I need them to go out of the Europa League so they take the City game seriously. Wolves, even though they've got nothing to play for, is still a tough place to go in Molyneux. So yeah, holding on to a bit of hope, but yeah, I don't know. I still think Man City are slight favourites, and they'll go on to win it. So yeah, we'll see.
Your thoughts on the title race and Liverpool's recent matches?
Yeah, so I did watch the Liverpool versus Everton game. It was a good game. It was interesting, actually. You know, like I've said, the tactics that Everton used, Liverpool got frustrated in the first half. Anthony Gordon, absolutely amazing. Such a young talent. Seeing him play, the speed, you know, the courage he had in the counter attacks in that game, and overall he's been playing really well since Lampard brought him in. I mean, look, the first time he does dive, and it's a really bad dive. So that's something which, you know, it's part of football, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a really, really bad dive. You know, there wasn't even any contact. He tried to make the contact. So the second one, I actually agree with what Lampard said. I think if Salah goes down in that same challenge, I think the referees give it. It's not Liverpool's fault. It's not Everton's fault. It's the league. The way the league is as set up as it is. So if that's a Man City or Liverpool player, that's a penalty. Maybe even a big 6 team, but especially Man City and Liverpool. If that's their side, that's a penalty. But because it's against the other side, it's against the team that's going for the title. It's against the big team. You know, the atmosphere of these big teams at Anfield. I think the referee, maybe the contact wasn't. Look, for me personally, I don't think that's a foul. But the way football is now, that's a foul in football. The way football is now, currently, what's contact, what's not contact. And I think if that happens to Mane or Salah on the other side of the pitch, I think that's given. But I think the referee has bottled it a little bit by not giving it. I think he's bottled it a little bit by not giving that challenge. But he didn't give it, so fair enough. Sadio Mane got sent off, and Mane does go away with a lot of things that he does. Now, last season, he elbowed Tierney in the face, got nothing for it. VAR again were there, done nothing. This season, he elbowed Aspilicueta. It wasn't as intentional as the Tierney one, so I think that could be a yellow. And now he, you know, unintentionally, you know, they say poked, was it one of the Everton players' eye or something? But Holgate, yeah. So he gets away with a lot of challenges. So now, you know, for me, if I'm Guardiola, I go out in a press conference and say, well, you know, some players are getting away with, you know, violent conduct. But then saying that, there are a lot of players get away with a lot of stuff. You know, you got like, you know, you've seen, you know, even one of my boys, Mason Mount, he's getting away with a lot of stamps recently. Him, Keita, Bruno. So I think VAR and just the Premier League in general, the referees need to be consistent with what's a red card and what's not a red card. You're seeing these three players, all three midfielders, getting away with stamping players. They should be sent off. And even if it's unintentional, if you're stamping someone, and you can see, that it's reckless, it needs to be a red card. Because you can't have one a red card and another one not a red card. So that has to be sorted out. But yeah, Liverpool had much more quality than Everton. They deserve to win the game. That's what Liverpool and Man City are doing right now. They have that drive and that kind of, that way to win a game, however need be. But the goal at Robertson it was a good work goal, but like Albig said, Pickford maybe could have done better. And then the volley from Diaz to Origi finished the game off. So it was a good game. Liverpool deserved to win. Now Everton's tactics, me and Albig have different opinions. I understand why they did it, because if you think about it from a logical point of view, Everton can't out-football Liverpool, so they have to find different ways to play football. That's why I defend Simeone a lot, because when teams are better than you, you can't outplay them in football. You'll get, smashed in pieces. But at the same time, it can be frustrating for a team to watch. But now Everton have us, this Sunday, and if they do the same thing to us, they beat us, then I've got to accept it. It just is one of these things. But I can understand why Albert would get frustrated, or any team would get frustrated by those tactics, because Pickford was literally going down every single time the ball came to him. He'd go down and go on the floor. And then one time I saw him do a little smile and a wink. I don't know who was doing that, but it was so funny. I was like, what is this? Liverpool deserved to win that game. And then the Villarreal game, I didn't see it myself, but I just heard, like Albert said, and I was told by some of my friends, pure domination. Villarreal didn't attack properly at all, didn't have any counter-attacks. And it was a comfortable win for Liverpool. So overall, Liverpool keep going. The quadruple chasing Reds, as Abik says. So let's see what happens. I think Man City personally are going to win the Premier League title. I think both teams are going to win every single game left of the season, and obviously that means Man City win the title. But let's see what happens. I could be wrong. You could get one shock result out of anywhere. I just think both teams now are so good. They're gonna, keep winning all their games. But, I wouldn't be. But then at the same time, Man City looked a little bit shaky. I mean, look, we'll get onto it in a bit. But the Real Madrid game defensively were awful. I know Walker wasn't there, Cancelo wasn't there, but Ruben Diaz and Stones looked really poor against Madrid. I know Madrid are a good team. They've got Benzema, but just in general, looking at that game, Man City's defending was really poor. They defend like that the rest of the season, they won't win the title. And they won't win Champions League either. So they got to sort that part of their game out. So overall, what an amazing season we have. What an amazing season. Two great teams, two of the greatest teams we'll ever see in football. Big statement to make by me, but I honestly believe that these two teams they're just relentless. They just keep going. They don't stop, and you're going to see that the rest of the season. But maybe Man City could leave without having any trophy whatsoever in the whole season. But let's see what happens.
Yeah, talking of Man City, so I was discussing this yesterday because Liverpool are soon due to play Tottenham, and we're hoping that Liverpool will do us a favour, beat Tottenham. That obviously do us a big favour in the battle for the top four. And we're looking back at where Man City were due to play Tottenham, and we're all thinking that Man City should win that game. They're at home, they're in good form. Tottenham weren't in good form at the time. Man City lost that game, and in general, just saying that if between the two teams, Liverpool and City, you'd say City do have the moments of looking more shaky than Liverpool this season. I know they're 1 point ahead,
agree,
but you've seen some shaky performances from them, and you wouldn't say they've been as clinical as Liverpool have been. And we know Liverpool have got that advantage when it comes to the strikers. The options you got up front compared to what they have, you're a lot stronger there. So there is a chance City, because let's look at that game against Real Madrid. What a match. One of the best games you could wish to see, just end to end. City played really well in that one, but as I was saying, their defense looked really shaky. And Real Madrid, what a team they are. They just managed to score goals, even if they're not really in a game. They're able to create opportunities and put them away. So your thoughts on the game, guys?
I thought it was an amazing game. I watched the entire game. I really enjoyed it. I mean, these type of games make you love football. And that could sound hypocritical because I do like Simeone's style and I do like the other styles of play. But when you see two pure footballing teams like Real Madrid and Man City. It was amazing to watch, entertaining, end to end. Both teams awful defending, really poor defending. I mean, Militao and Alaba as well. I talked about Man City's defenders; they were so shaky on the ball. So they didn't want it half the time. The defending was awful. Um, but it was a good game, very, very good game. I think Man City deserved to win the game, and Man City should have buried it. Riyad Mahrez had a very good chance to make it. I think it's 3-0 in that moment of play, and he didn't square it to Foden. He shot on his right foot, his weaker foot, and it went out. So I think Man City should have won this game more comfortably, in my opinion. But Real Madrid, they've won 13 Champions Leagues, the most successful team in Europe, and this current team have won many Champions Leagues within themselves. So you can never count them out. Now they go back to the Bernabeu. Like you said, this is where away goal rule would have been important. Like you said, now Madrid could just win 1-0 at Bernabeu and go through to the final, but now they do have to win by the 2 goals, or even take it to 1 goal and maybe take it to extra time or penalties. But it was an amazing game. Benzema, you saw his class. That finish he done was absolutely amazing. It was a world class finish. De Bruyne was outstanding as well. Amazing player. He's been missing this season, I think, for some big games. I haven't seen him play that well, but he's coming alive now in the most important time. And just a correction. I think it was 3-1 for Mahrez to make it 3-1 to Man City. But it's a great second leg set up now for the second leg, and the first leg was amazing.
Yeah, like I was saying, it was an incredible semi-final. You don't really see games like that where, especially in the semi-final, they're meant to be more cagey, and it's like especially big teams like Real Madrid and Man City. But Man City, they're the bit between their teeth, and they really went for Real Madrid. It was scarier than the way they went for us in that game at the Etihad. It's like that, but scarier kind of thing. So I agree that Man City could have buried that game, and they should have been 4-0 up by half time. But at the same time, even if I don't know what the scoreline was at half time, was it 2-1 or 2-0? I can't remember. But what I'm saying is, this is when a stronger defense really comes in, because what Man City did, that 4-3, it reminded me of the Liverpool under Klopp in the first year or second year of Klopp's era, where we'd be involved in high scoring games week in, week out, because we couldn't defend as well. So we'd always have to score 4 or 5 just to beat a team. And it shouldn't have to be like that, because you can't sustain that. It's not, you're going to get away with it every now and then, but you're not always going to get away with it. And 1 or 2 times, someone's going to come back and nick a point or go and beat you because you just can't defend. And that's the concern for Man City at the moment. They have to sort out their defense, because they cannot afford to concede those level of chances, especially against someone like Real Madrid, and in particular Karim Benzema, who is at the moment on form the best player in the world. There is no disputing that. He absolutely is. You can't afford to concede chances like that against A, Real Madrid, and B, Karim Benzema, who at the moment is undeniably the best striker, best player in the world on form. Because the goals he's scoring, the chances he's getting, like Omar said, that goal at the Etihad, it's not even half a chance, but he's putting away chances, which is unbelievable. It's not like he's through 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper and you expect any striker to bury it. He's scoring half chances, which is unbelievable. The way he clips that ball around the corner and it hits the post and goes in. And then in such a high pressure game, my man has the balls to Panenka a penalty, which is absolutely unreal. Like, can you imagine the stick he would have got if he missed that, or if it went over the bar? I generally thought it was the way it was rising. I thought it was going over the bar, or he's going to hit the bar.
Yeah, same.
I was scared for him, but look, no one cares because it went in the back of the net. But to have the balls to do that, usually you just want to put your lace through it and fire it in, at least if you fired it, like you've hit it properly and the keeper saved it, you can say, well, it was a good save, but yeah, he Paninkas it in such a high pressure moment. Again, this is Karim Benzema. But yeah, like I said, I think it's more down to City's defense or lack of defense than them squandering chances. They did squander a lot of chances. Marish on another day scores a hat trick because he had 3 really good chances. He cracked the post in the second half with really good effort. So he's a bit unlucky at that. And then Foden can't put the rebound in the back of the net. But yeah, a really good game. And I honestly, if you ask me who's going through, I can't call it. I really cannot call it because Real Madrid have this like Lazarus style bloody, come back from the dead style football where they just seem like they're down and out. They did it against Chelsea and they've done it again now at the Etihad where everyone thought, especially after the first 20 minutes when City were 2-0 up and they had chances to go 3 or 4-0 up. I thought there's no way Real Madrid can go back to this. There's absolutely no chance. But then the only thing that kept me thinking maybe they will was because it was still 2-0 for a while and City were missing chances. I thought, is this going to hurt them? Are they going to come back to regret this? And they did because they didn't put away their chances. It stayed 2-0 and then Karim Benzema scored. So they're back in it. And for it to end 4-3 is absolutely insane. I really don't know who if Liverpool make it to the final, I really don't know who I want to face. I think they're both going to be incredibly tough games. But I would just like to think that Liverpool's defence at the moment is a bit better than Man City's because Liverpool's defence, I think in our last 3 or 4 games now, we've kept clean sheets. We haven't conceded in about 4 games, whereas Man City have been conceding. I would just like to think our defense might be a bit better to cope with Real Madrid than what Man City have showed. If it's Real Madrid that get through, but we'll see. But absolutely unreal game, really exciting, and I'm looking forward to that game more than our game in the return leg. Yeah, it'll be more exciting. So yeah, we'll see who goes through.
Yeah, as you say, it's really hard to call. And it's going to be a great game. Really looking forward to it. Okay, so let's talk about Chelsea now. Had a win on the weekend against West Ham. Tough match. London, close one there. And then you had a draw just yesterday against Man United away. Your thoughts?
Yeah, look, right now I just want to secure 3rd position and just wait for this FA Cup final. And, I'm just looking forward to that final. Okay, now against West Ham, first half was really, it was poor. There was not much to it. Second half, we started getting a rhythm of things, but we still weren't great. It was still it was a very frustrating game. West Ham, they were defensively solid. They played well. A big shout out to Dawson. What a defender in terms of his blocking in that game was very important. There was a few times where his blocks, were very important. And we look very shaky sometimes. I don't know what's going on mentally in terms of the Chelsea defenders' mentality. Because they look very shaky on the ball recently, looking really, not confident. Don't know where they're going to pass the ball. They feel like maybe I don't know. It's a tricky one. But end of the game comes, Big Rom. I got to give him his credit, because he's had a lot of stick, by me included, because he's been awful in some of the games he's played. But yeah, Lukaku, really good to get that penalty in the 85th minute, turning Dawson. And he can do that with his size, strength, speed. He's probably the best player in the world at, pinning defenders and turning them, and he done that. He won the penalty. Jorginho, he needs to stop taking penalties for a bit because this skip, jump style is not working recently. It didn't work for Italy. He missed a few penalties in the qualifiers for Italy. And it didn't work against Fabianski. And you saw when Fabianski saved it, Fabianski knew his style. Everyone knows his style. He learned it and he saved the penalty. But then Captain America, my boy, Christian Pulisic, in the last minute, gets a very, very important goal to secure 3rd. A great play. Mason Mount give it to Marcus Alonso. Alonso's been playing really well, especially in attack. Defensively, we've always known he's a little bit suspect, but in attack, absolutely amazing. Amazing wing back. One of the best, I think, probably one of, if not the best attacking, left wing back in the world. He can shoot, he can cross, and his shooting is very good. So yeah, his cross cut it back for Pulisic 1-0, and we'll take that, even though it wasn't great. And then yeah, Manchester United. Most times you draw to United away and you're happy, but I'm really disappointed we drew to Man United. We should have beaten them. We should have beaten them comfortably as well, I think. United are a complete mess. So I'm very disappointed in that result. We in the first half, we completely dominated them. It was men versus boys. But again, we can't finish our chances. So, we need to sort that out. Havertz had a few good chances. Reece James played absolutely amazing. He was world class, at Old Trafford. His performance was absolutely amazing. He was really, playing really well, and he looked. And in the second half, it was a little bit more even. But yeah, Reece James, really good cross, flicked on by Havertz, I believe, and then Marcus Alonso takes a little step back and buries it in the corner. And I'm thinking then, let's get 2, maybe 3. I'd even take the 1-0, but it was a very good finish from Alonso. Like I said, really, really playing well recently. Then we just sleep again. It's the attack wasn't clinical enough yesterday, and then and then defense, sleeping. The whole team was sleeping. In that Ronaldo goal, it was a very good little chip pass from Matic. Great finish from Ronaldo, but no, it's unacceptable to this result for me. You're dominating a game, you have all the chances, and then one little defensive lapse. And yeah, CR7 buries it. But we should have won the game. But it's like our players, we kind of know we're going to get Champions League now. We're going to get in that third spot. So I think maybe some of the players, and then we have still a bit of uncertainty on, what's going on with the ownership. So maybe it's affecting the players, and maybe we're just looking forward now to the FA Cup final. But you want good momentum, a good preparation for the final. You don't just want to slug your way across to the final and then you're just going to turn it on that day and win the game. You need to have some momentum, have some good form. So, now we have Everton on Sunday. I want a good performance, tough game because they're fighting for their lives. But, yeah, overall, satisfactory, but I really think we should have took 6 points. We should have won yesterday. And, yeah, we were dominant, but, being dominant doesn't mean anything unless you score your goals. It doesn't matter if you have all the possession, all the chances. It doesn't mean anything. You score. So, we've got a lot to improve on before the final. And, on to the next game now.
So, yeah, also I heard some news today that you've had another person bid to buy you.
Yeah, it was a nice little surprise. Yeah, so Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the richest man in UK, has come in to buy Chelsea. He's gone above and beyond and offered £4 billion, and we were on sale for £3 billion. So it shows you his purchase power. He seems very serious about this bid as well. He's coming last minute. He's coming 2 weeks after you're actually allowed to bid. So that shows you money talks in football and generally. And he's serious. He's pledged to spend 1.75 billion on new players, on infrastructure of the team, of a new stadium. And what I love the most is that he said he doesn't even mind. It's not important for him to make money out of Chelsea because he already makes money elsewhere in his businesses. So you're hearing things like that, give me the same feeling of, Roman back in the day when he joined, and his ownership. And so hopefully he is successful. We still have other bidders that are in the mix, but Radcliffe seems very serious. Apparently he's a season ticket holder for Chelsea. And apparently he's a Man United fan, but maybe he's not a big Man United fan. Maybe he's a casual. And either way, I don't mind. As long as he comes in, cares about football, which he does, and it's nice to have a British owner, which will be good, seeing all the other foreign owners in the league. If he cares about football, if he pumps in the correct money, has the correct scouts to buy the correct players. I don't just want to do a Man United, spend 1.1 billion and get nowhere. Hopefully we can. Hopefully he comes in, but whoever comes in, just need someone that has some sort of care and love for football and cares about the club. Doesn't just make it into a cash cow. So yeah, let's see what happens. But yeah, I'm excited because if he came in, if Radcliffe came in, Chelsea will be back on top. All the other teams excited that we lost, our current owner, but a lot of teams are excited that we're losing him. But we'll be back. No matter what owner we get, we're very, very big now in the football world. So that's all I'm excited to say. Let's see who we get. I think it'll be done definitely by the summer, a new owner, and then hopefully we can crack on to buy some new players and maybe even a new stadium in a year or two, which will be very important for revenue and everything.
Okay, so now let's talk about my boys. We're flying again. We had that little blip where we lost 3 games in a row unexpectedly, but we bounced back in style, beating Chelsea. Really important back because I got our confidence back. We took that into the game against Man United. We didn't play our best against them, but we still got a 3-1 win in the end. One of them games where a lot of pressure, and it's good that we have that ability to win a game when we're not playing at our best, because we've seen us many times. We play really well and sometimes we don't get a result. And we've seen that sometimes when we don't play well, we really struggle to grind out wins. So it's good that we're adding that element to our game. And I was really happy with that. And we're really in a good position now because as we've just got into better form and won our last couple of games, Tottenham had a big dip. So they've not scored any goals in their last 2 games. They lost 1-0 to Brighton at home and then drew 0-0 away to Brentford. We're very lucky Brentford should have beaten them. So now we're in the driving seat again for the top 4, 2 points ahead of them. And our next couple of games, West Ham away, Leeds at home. Their next couple of games is Leicester at home and Liverpool away. Abik, your boys better not let us down. Right? As I was saying, we were speaking yesterday about when they were due to play Man City and Man City let us down. As we were saying, I think Man City are a lot more shaky than you lot. I think I can rely more on you lot, especially at Anfield. The form you're in, pretty confident you'll beat them. So if that happens, after that, we're playing each other. It's a North London derby, right? And we could be 5 points clear of them, if not more. It depends how their result goes against Leicester. But first things first, we have to win our next 2 games, which is West Ham away and Leeds at home. And then see what happens between you guys and them and what happens between them and Leicester. What's your guys' thoughts on the top 4 race now?
Yeah, it's looking interesting. You like you said, 3 unexpected losses, and then you beat us, and you deserve to beat us. I think against Man United, you guys were lucky. I think look, Bruno's penalty, that should have been Cristiano Ronaldo taking it, and he scores it. I think. I think the penalty was soft, very soft penalty, but I understand why it was given because Tejas was wrong side of the man, but I think he's very lucky. Apparently, I did see the game, and Cedric's handball wasn't given. So again, I don't want to keep going on and on about it, but VAR need to really, the Premier League, the referees need to really stay consistent with the decisions because this has cost Man United. Because I think Man United, I think they probably they could have easily won this game if things are different. If they scored the penalty, maybe the other penalty was Cedric. So yeah, overall it was a very good game. I think both teams, not in a disrespectful way, both teams are just as bad as each other. I don't think anyone was special in the game. I just think the less worse team won the game with a bit more quality. But it was exciting to watch the game. Ronaldo, amazing finish to get his 100th Premier League goal. So a big shout out to him after the tough week he's had. So yeah, overall, I think Spurs. I didn't watch the Brentford Spurs game because I was watching the Classica. I was watching Bayern versus Dortmund, which was an amazing game. But I didn't watch the game. But yeah, Spurs are very hit and miss. But then so are Arsenal. I just think Arsenal are a little bit more consistent when you need to be more than Spurs. I hope the game does get decided in North London derby. That would be nice. Have a decider at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. To whoever wins takes it all. That would be nice. But then the inconsistency of teams apart from the top 2 is really poor. I'll be really honest. I think apart from the top 2, it's just whoever's not as worse as the other gets these Champions League positions. I don't think anyone's that special. I think everyone's quite mediocre when you look at how we're playing. We all keep losing games, and you go 3 in a row, you lose. We lost to you guys, and then we drew to it yesterday when we dominated the game. Yeah, it's comical some of the things that happen, in our team. So I think Arsenal are going to get 4th. I think Spurs, I think they'll lose to Liverpool at Anfield. But like I said, I'll stick to my point. Like I said, I actually think I want Spurs to get fourth rather than Arsenal. I just think it'll be funny, to see how that plans out. But I think you guys are going to get it, and you should get top four this season. But it'll be very interesting. It'll be very close. Well, I hope it's close. I hope it's not, an easy runaway for Arsenal. Because if it's 5 points by the time you go to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, then it's over. You could even lose that game, and you still probably get top four. So it's going to be very interesting. But I hope both teams, let's hope it's a close battle and may the best team get the full spot.
Yeah, I think Arsenal are favourites for that fourth spot. The turning point for Arsenal was the victory over Chelsea and then obviously beat United. That's a big week to beat both those teams. Is something going. So you put yourselves in the driving spot now. Destiny's in your own hands. And Tottenham they're a very unpredictable side. I mean, a team that can do the double over Man City, yet drop points at a place like Brentford, who have got nothing to play for. Brentford are safe. They were always safe. Yet they couldn't find a way past them last week. So, yeah, I think Arsenal will take that fourth spot. One thing I would say is I agree with it's a damning indictment on Arsenal, Spurs, mainly Arsenal, Spurs, that the fact that someone like Man United are still in the race for top four. Someone as poor as Man United should be nowhere near the top four, yet they're, 6th or 7th and only 5 points off. That's how poor the competition, I would say, is for that fourth spot. One of you or Spurs should have had this locked down a long time ago, because Man United have been shocking. And let's be honest, without Ronaldo's goals, they wouldn't be where they are. They'd probably be bottom half, maybe even flirting with relegation, dare I say it, without his goals, because he's been a big No, I'm being serious. Look at what he's done. He scored the equaliser last night. He's got 2 hat-tricks in recent weeks as well.
He's Norwich and Spurs.
He's played a massive part for Man United. So without him, God knows where they'd be. So yeah, it is a bit weird how they're still only 5 points off. But yeah, I don't think they're definitely not going to do it. It's between Spurs and Arsenal. And I think what it could come down to is, like you said, Amit, there's a big game at Anfield where Spurs have to come to Anfield. We're obviously going for a title, so the form we're in, hopefully we can put them away, doing you guys a favour as well. But we'll see. It depends what Spurs turns up, to be honest. But yeah, I think you guys will get it. And look, let's hope if it does go down to the final day, not just the derby, the North London derby, but if it goes down to the final day, even more exciting, because then technically we could have a title race, points different, and a 4th place point or 2 points different. So they could be 2 massive games, and if you beat Everton, you relegate them as well and get 4th. That's the best scenario. You beating Everton, relegating them, and clinching 4th. So that's what I want on the final day.
I don't want it to go to that far. I'm hoping you guys will beat Tottenham, so we're going to that game at least 5 points ahead of them. Then we beat them, so then that finishes it there, and then we finish it in that game itself. We'll be 8 points ahead of them with just 2 games to go. So that'd be a lot more better for my heart, because the pressure going into that last game, knowing that you've got to get a win to secure it, it's a lot of pressure. And as you said, Everton will most likely be fighting for relegation, so that'd be a really difficult game. And we don't want it to go that far. I'm confident we can get the job done before then. And it's just, like I say, we've got to concentrate on ourselves. It's in our hands. Concentrate on what we need to do, because even if you guys do beat Tottenham and we don't take advantage of it by winning our next 2 games, then it's no good. So it's the most important thing. Do our job, take care of our business. Then when we get into that match, see how far ahead we are of Tottenham at that point. And like I say, 5 points, get a draw, we're kind of more or less done, because then with 2 games to go, we just need to get a couple of points. But, you just don't know in football. Anything can happen. We could lose the last 2 games. They're quite difficult games. We've got Newcastle away and Everton at home, who, as I'm saying, they're going to be fighting for relegation. So can't take anything for granted. And just got to take it game by game. So let's get into this weekend's games. Let's start with Liverpool's match. We have an early kickoff this weekend, so you've got the chance to put the pressure on Man City. If you can beat Newcastle away, it's always a difficult game. You guys have historically had some really good games with Newcastle in the Premier League, as we know. Newcastle are improving. Since January, they've been a lot better. The players they've brought in, they're in a lot better form now. So it's going to be a difficult game for you. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it will be a tough game. I'd be more confident if it was at Anfield, but it's not. It's also early kickoff. The only good thing is that Newcastle are safe now. They're ninth, which is really, I didn't even realise they're ninth till today. So they've really, Eddie Howe's gone in and done a proper job, and because I think they were like in a relegation zone when he took over. So he's really, fair play to him. He's really rescued them. So yeah, they're safe now. That's the only good thing for us. So yeah, they are in good form. I think they've won their last 3 or 4 games. But then so are we. And like I said, Villarreal didn't give us too much of a headache. We didn't use up too much of our energy, the players that played on Wednesday night, so they should be relatively fresh. And even if they aren't, we've now got a decent squad. So, we can make subtle changes, like maybe take Konate out and bring Matip back in. Maybe Mane or Diaz drops to the bench and Jota starts, something like that. So we can make a couple of changes without disrupting things too much. I think we'll be all right. I think we've also kept quite a few clean sheets, like I said earlier. So our defense has been quite solid. And ironically, it's good that it's at St. James's Park, because it means that Newcastle won't do what Everton did last week and just sit and time waste. They'll, have a go and try and create chances, which is what we prefer, because if a team against us, plays football, they're likely to leave more gaps that we can exploit, and we've got the players up front that can, really hurt teams on the counter and just generally anyway. So yeah, that will help Liverpool as well. But yeah, I think we'll be all right. Hopefully we win. Hopefully it's another 2-0, if not 3-0, which is a bit more comfortable.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting game. Like Abid said, Newcastle will be in some really good form, and so Liverpool. 11:30 start, which was made a lot out of it, but yeah, because Villarreal was so easy for Liverpool in terms of they didn't give Liverpool a lot of threats. So I think Liverpool will be fresh. I think Newcastle, they played really well, but I think this will be one game, one step too far. This game, like I said, I think both teams are going to keep winning, and I think Liverpool are going to win this game 4-0. I think they're going to really put it on Newcastle. They're going to press high. They're going to not let them breathe. And I think they're going to win 4-0 this game.
Okay, I think it's going to be a bit tighter than that. I think Newcastle, even if they haven't got a lot to play for, being at home, we know what the atmosphere is like there. It's a difficult stadium to go to, so I don't think it will be that easy. But yeah, I think Liverpool, if they go 2-3 up, they're not going to really want to push too much because they've got so many big games coming up. So maybe I'm going to go for 2-0. And then that will put the pressure on Man City, because you guys will go top of the league then. And they got, could say, a tricky game after what we've just had in midweek. I'm sure that game took a lot out of them mentally and physically. They got to go to Leeds away. What's your guys' predictions for that one?
I think that Man City, I think it's going to be a very tricky game. Leeds away is always quite tough. Man City had a lot more difficult game against Real Madrid than Liverpool had. I think Man City are not going to be comfortable in this game. I think it's going to be it's very tight. I think Man City are going to win 2-1. I think it's going to be very, very close game. But I think Man City, again, the quality, the drive, the determination to win this league, I think they'll pull them through, and the quality, most importantly, of everything. But yeah, they've had some injuries. Like I said, Walker and Cancelo. Walker's injured. And Cancelo was suspended, so he'll be back in for this game. So that's very important for them against Leeds. So I think 2-1, Man City.
Yeah, it's not very straightforward, but at the same time, it could be straightforward. I think they're going to be quite comfortable, and I actually think it might even turn into a bit of a battering. I think they'll win 4-1. Stones is also out. So Stones and Walker are both out. But yeah, like I said, Concert's back, and they've just got so much quality in the middle of the park and up front. You know, didn't Jesus score 4 goals last week or something?
He did, yeah.
That's what I mean. Like someone like Jesus who doesn't start very often or doesn't start maybe as much as he should, comes in and scores 4 goals. So they've got players that can do that. I'm always going to be hopeful that someone does us a bit of a favour and nicks a point. But yeah, the only thing that, like, it being at Ellen Road and Leeds fighting for their lives, you know, they have been a bit better defensively under Jesse Marsh compared to Bielsa. If this was still Bielsa in charge, then I'd be like, yeah, it's going to be, because they lost 7-0 at the Etihad. Leeds this season have taken some batterings. They've lost like 7-0 to City. They've lost 6-0 to us. They lost 4-0 to Spurs. They lost 4-2 to Man United. And then I think Arsenal beat them 4-0 or 4-1 as well. They really take some batterings against the big six. So yeah, it could be another battering. I think it'll be 4-1 to City.
Yeah, I think Man City, they know, there's only 5 games to go now, so they can't be taking their eye off the ball. As much as they got this big game coming up away to Real Madrid, you might think they have one eye on that game, but I'm sure Pep will have them focused and be like, we can't afford any slip-ups, because just one slip-up and that could be the title gone. So I see them being really focused and winning quite comfortably. I'm going to go for 3-0 to them. And then let's talk about Chelsea's game. You guys have got Everton away. Thoughts on that one?
Yeah, like I said, I think it's going to be a very difficult game because Everton are fighting for their lives. We know how good Ipswich Park gets when it's, when the atmosphere gets going. It's a Sunday game, so I think the fans, the atmosphere will be there. I think the players are going to be motivated because they have to be bounce back from the Merseyside derby. I don't know what Chelsea is going to turn up, I'll be honest with you, because, we might be dominant, but then are we going to finish our chances? And are we going to be confident with playing the ball out of the back, our defenders? So it's going to be a tricky one. Last time I predicted that we'd draw against West Ham, and we actually won in the end, but very, very close. We scored in the last minute of normal time. I think this game is going to be similar to these last 2 games. Well, so the game against West Ham, I think it's going to be even. I think they're going to be, they're going to try and press us quite high. And I think that, I wouldn't, for me, my predictions probably, I think it's going to be 1-1. I just think that, I don't think that we're clinical enough right now, which is the problem. And I think Everton are going to be fighting for every challenge, every ball they have to. And Lampard, Chelsea legend, it's going to be a special one for him, a difficult, a strange game, but it'll be special as well, to go against, his team. So I think it's going to be a draw. But I wouldn't be surprised if we won. I wouldn't be surprised if they won. I think it's just very important to get the first goal. I think if we can see the first goal, then I think it's going to be very difficult because I think they'll let us have the ball, but then it's on us if we're going to break them down. I think if we get the first goal, I think Goodison Park atmosphere goes down, and I think we play the ball around, and I think we can win the game. But let's see what happens. It's going to be interesting, but hopefully we can get the win and just secure that 3rd spot.
I think it will be a close game. And I'm hoping Chelsea win 1-0 and they score in the 92nd minute or in the 89th minute like they have been doing recently. It'll be interesting to see what Everton do. They won't use those time wasting tactics, because I purely think that was just for Liverpool's benefit, to stop Liverpool from trying to win the league. So they won't do that. I don't see what the advantage of doing that. They'll try and be compact like they were trying to be compact at Anfield. Chelsea, I don't know, you're right. Something's up with Chelsea. Like I said in the previous show, their initial reaction to everything that was happening off the pitch was good, because it wasn't letting them. The stuff that was happening off the pitch wasn't, being affected by the performances on the pitch. They were still winning games and performances were generally okay. But something's changed in the last month or maybe 5 weeks or so, where it's an indifferent Chelsea, where they're not the defensive Chelsea that like defensively solid. Like you said, they're not taking chances, so they're blowing hot and cold. I think Chelsea will edge it, purely because Everton are just really in a bad way at the moment. And if Calvert-Lewin's still out, they haven't got an outlet. Richardson's he can be a good player, but he can't do it all on his own. So that's why I'm edging Chelsea to win it. But yeah, like I said, Chelsea are a bit of a funny team at the moment. But yeah, 1-0 Chelsea.
Okay, I think, it's going to be a tight game. Everton got so much to fight for down in the relegation zone. Don't think Chelsea have as much to fight for. You would say they're kind of secure to finish in the top 4 now. So that motivation factor, I don't think it's quite there for them at the moment. And we're seeing that in some of their performances. Obviously, they have more quality than Everton. So I think 2-1 Chelsea, that one will be close, but I think Chelsea will just shade that one. And then on to my boys. So we got West Ham away. Tricky game. We know West Ham are having a really good season. They're being up there in the league, fighting for top 4 for most of the season. They've dropped away recently. They seem to be focusing more on the Europa League, done really well in that competition, as we know, in the semi-finals of that. And we're playing them at a good time because it's right between the semi-final first leg and second leg. They lost yesterday, but it's still close in that match. They're only 2-1 down going into the second leg. So they're going to have an eye on that game. It gives them the chance to get Champions League. And it doesn't look like the league can do that for them now because they've dropped quite far behind the pace that we're setting now. So also, they have injuries in centre-back. They're missing 3 of their centre-backs, and Dawson got a red card against Chelsea. So that's all their first-choice centre-backs out. So that's giving us another advantage. So everything's stacked in our favour, but we know what football's like. Can't take anything for granted. It's a London derby. They're at home, and it's not an easy game in West Ham at their stadium.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you guys really should be winning this game with the injuries they have. Their mind won't really be on this game. It'll be on the second leg against Eintracht Frankfurt. And just to quickly go on it, I think they probably deserve. They hit the bow and played quite well in their game in the first leg, and I think West Ham were a little bit unlucky to be losing the game 2-1. But yeah, Eintracht Frankfurt played very, very well in the game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the second leg. But for this game, West Ham are going to have not much focus on it, because I don't think they believe that they're going to be in a top 4 race. I think they're just solely thinking, let's go and win the game at, in Germany and get to the final. So I think they're going to rotate players. I mean, the players they can rotate because we've got so many injuries. Injuries and suspension now with Dawson getting a red card against us last week. So I think it's going to be comfortable for Arsenal. I don't think it'll be a comfortable result, but I think you'll play comfortably. You just have to get past their defence, which is they're very good. No Dawson outside, but they have Zuma back. So Zuma's obviously, a very solid defender. But I think you guys are still going to beat them. You guys should be beating them. I think you're going to beat them 3-1. I think it's going to be.
Yeah, I think Arsenal will win. I think 2-1. Main reason being is they've obviously just played on last night. Like I said, they probably got one eye on the second leg because they're trailing, so they need to make sure that they, try their best to get through to the final. They rested, if I'm not mistaken, Jared Bowen, Antonio, and Declan Rice. None of them started in the last game against Chelsea.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I don't imagine those 3 will start on Sunday either. So factor that in along with injury suspension. Like you said, Dawson is out. You're playing a weakened Chelsea. So you're playing a weakened West Ham team. So and you've got more to fight for. Mentality is a big thing at this moment in the season. If you've got something to fight for, usually that's the tipping point. So Arsenal got a 4th to fight for. West Ham have got a final to fight for, so the league is not their priority at this stage. So I think it'll be 2-1 to Arsenal.
Yeah, I think with everything's stacked in our favour, and we're in much better form now. We've got a lot of confidence from beating back-to-back Chelsea and Man United. It's always difficult to beat two big teams like that back-to-back. So that's given us a lot of confidence. As you said, we've got a lot to play for. We know how important the game is. West Ham, as we're saying, it's not so important for them. So I'm quite confident it'll be a comfortable 2-0 win for us. Okay, one more game for us to predict is, again, very important for us, involves the top 4 battle. Tottenham are playing Leicester at home. I think Leicester have been really poor this season. They haven't got a lot to play for. So as bad as Tottenham have been in their last couple of games, I can see them bouncing back in that one. For me, I think they're going to win that one 3-1.
I think Tottenham are going to show a big response this game. And I think that Leicester, they're going to be tired from the first leg against Roma, and now they have the second leg next Thursday. So again, like West Ham, their mindset's going to be they really want to go for that Europa Conference League trophy. So I think Tottenham are going to respond well. They're at home. I think they're going to dominate the game, and I think they're going to win 3-0. I think they're going to batter Leicester. I think they need to show a strong performance if they want to get that 4th spot. So 3-0 Tottenham.
Yeah, like Omar said, Leicester got their focus on the Europa Conference. I think it's 1-1 from the first leg, so they've got every chance to get into the final. So with that in mind, and Tottenham going for 4th, Tottenham should win. I'm going to go 3-1 as well. 3-1 Tottenham.
Okay. So yeah, another big weekend of Premier League football to look forward to. So looking forward to seeing you guys next week to discuss it all and discuss next week's Champions League results as well. Thanks.
Yeah, take care. It was a pleasure to be on once again, and let's hope that we get some consistent form for the final. Up the Blues, coming to Chelsea.
Up the quadruple chasing Reds.
Come on, you Gunners. We got this. Top 4 is ours. We're going to hear that Champions League music here again. It's been a long time, but hopefully it's coming back. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share.